Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Back on the show here, you know that there's a flooding situation happening in Nebraska that's threatening a nuclear plant with having to shut down, and this is barely being reported in the mainstream media, Lewis, and no surprise, and I'll tell you exactly why it's no surprise in a second. This is on the Missouri River, which rose to just 18 inches of forcing a shutdown here with this plant, which sits at 903 feet. There's levees around it, and the river has to hit 902 feet in Brownville. Or at Brownville, rather, for the plant to have to be shut down. Now, it went as high as 900 and some change, so it got very, very close, Lewis. And you know that what's incredible here is that I believe there is a concerted effort, this is the Cooper nuclear power plant, to prevent reporting on this. And how are they doing this? They've actually shut down the airspace above the immediate area surrounding the power plant. And as you know, Lewis, if you can't fly over it and get pictures and video, you're probably not going to cover it on mainstream television news. So it's a brilliant strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
And this is now in the midst of the Fukushima disaster, in the midst of all of the renewed discussions about nuclear power, alternative energy, nuclear energy. This is a concerted effort. This is the epitome, Lewis, of trying to control, of corporations successfully, not even trying, successfully controlling the news. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, and the FAA, which agreed to shut down the airspace above, is basically complicit in that task.
There's also something to be said for wanting to prevent panic, but that's not the only problem here. The other problem is that, well, why is this even occurring? Why is this a problem? Why is the flood a problem? I mean, don't you plan for every eventuality? I know there are levees and they didn't hold the water, but can't you predict that might happen at some point?
We can always ask that question. I hesitate to always ask the questions of, couldn't you just see this coming? Because it was asked in Japan, and the argument was made, well, you could have relocated the plant elsewhere so that the water wouldn't be as much of an issue, but maybe they couldn't.
Well, we know that in Japan, they had the option of, for more money, building the plant on a hill that it was near.
Right.
And they didn't. To save money.
Fair enough. That was a factor. But in other words, any time that you start saying, couldn't it have been predicted and therefore shouldn't you have done something differently, we could argue, well, wait a second. Why is anybody even living in Florida? I mean, when we figured out that Florida gets hurricanes and that they cause disaster, why are people even living there, period, right? We can always ask that question. My concern is more that this strikes me, again, as another example where subsidized industries, we have oil and we have power in general, or highly subsidized industries in this country, are involved in the prevention of getting bad news leaking out. And this time the airspace has been shut down. And as we know, no video means no news. So this is really a big story. If what happened in Japan was a big story, and it was, the potential, and I get that the population in the immediate surrounding area is not what it was in Japan, but the potential for a similar type of disaster, given that we're talking about water flooding a plant, is there. People deserve to know about it. And this time, it's not an earthquake that just happened in an instant that triggered it. Here we're talking about a flood that is rising over a period of time, but we're getting almost no reporting on it whatsoever, period.
Reminds me of BP a little bit. I mean, I wonder what's going on in and around the area of the plant.
You know why? I was just reading about this. I was actually talking to people. I was talking to Tom Hartman about this at Netroots Nation specifically. BP now is loving the fact that you can no longer fly over a lot of that affected area in the Gulf. And it instantly just got out of the news. Once there's no more video, and we've seen a couple of pictures suggesting there's still huge oil slicks there. As soon as you can't really get video and pictures, it's basically like it's not happening, even though we know it's still a huge issue down in the Gulf. Mm-hmm. It's incredible.